Hey, 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 hey. What's going on, my peoples? Just coming to stop by for a quick second. Today is April 21st, 2025. Just wanted to come by and stop through and share with you guys some information that happened to me. Um, my dad, my dad, yeah. Um, for a long time, I was always wondering what I was going to do, when I got a chance to finally talk to him. And my mind was always wondering, I was always thinking, like, how would I react? How should I react? He's always wanted to build a relationship with me. He never really, never was disrespectful to my mom, but just never really, I don't want to say took life serious, but he never really showed me that he can really, be, loyal, trustworthy, and dependable. And all those things matter to me because that's the kind of person I am. I'm loyal to the T. I'm reliable. When I have it, you have it. You know what I'm saying? And I just never knew how I was going to handle that situation. And when he got out, I found out he got out of prison. And when he got out, before he got out, I texted my auntie and I asked her. It was so funny because I asked her. I said, "How's my dad doing?" And she said, "He's doing okay. He's doing good. He's looking to go into the parole board, and they might let him out." And I'm like, "Oh man, cool. That's crazy," because he was just been on my mind. And, I just wanted to reach out and see how he was doing, and pray for him and stuff like that, and just let him know that I'm thinking about him. And my aunt, she was excited. She was excited. She was like, "Oh man, I know he's going to be happy to hear that." So she told him, and he was happy, to hear from me, and appreciative and everything. And so a couple of days later, she had texted me and she said, he wants to, call me, and he wants my number. And I was like, "Oh man, he's out already. Wow, that's crazy. That's good though. That's good." So I was like, "Yeah, tell him that he can call me." And so he called me. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. So he calls me, and for a couple days, I saw that this number was calling me, and I just knew it was him, and I just didn't pick the phone up. I didn't know what to say. I had to pray about it. I had to pray about it. I had to pray to ask God, what should I do? How should I, take on this big thing? It's big to me because this guy is my father. He's my dad. And God was like, hey, honor your mother and father. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. I know you have a lot of questions. I know, you have a lot of things in the back of your mind that you may get angry about, but put that aside right now. Put that aside right now. You never know what he's going through. And God was giving all this to me. So finally, I picked up the phone when he called, and I didn't know what to expect. So when I picked the phone up, and it completely blown me away. Our conversation completely blown me away. And he, just let me know that how he hasn't always been the way he is. He struggled, with things in his life, that took him down the path, that he struggled with. And I appreciated that, him telling me these things. He was like, I haven't always been this way. I was a kid that, loved to ride horses. I was a good student in school, and, did things for my grandmother and around the house. And it was good to hear these things, and it was like, wow, I want to hear more of that. I want to hear more. And all of a sudden, the things in the back of my mind, like, that was bothering me, kind of went away. Kind of like was like, it really doesn't matter right now. It really doesn't matter right now. And I know, this has happened before, a couple times. He's gotten out, and I've heard this same old story, this same old spiel. But this time it just seems a little different. It just seemed a little different because I feel like God is more involved. I feel like God is more involved, not only in my direction, but also in his direction, in my dad's direction. I think God has control over, his decision making. And he spent enough time in there, man. He spent enough time in that prison. And I just pray, and I'm asking you all to pray for us, our relationship, to flourish, and for me to get to know him a lot better. And I just pray that he continues to do good things. He has some good news for me. I was like elated. I was so happy for him. And I just hope and pray that he continues down this path. I would love to see him become successful. I've always wanted that for him. I told him that. I said, I've always wanted to see you be successful. I've always wanted that for you. I've never really held a grudge. I'm not angry. I just want you to prove not only to us, but yourself. Prove to yourself that you can do this. I told him that, look at me and your daughter. We've gone through a lot, especially these last couple of years, but we haven't stopped. I lost my job, for 8 months. I wasn't working. It was hard for me to catch up with bills. It was hard for me to do things that I wanted to do, but that didn't stop me. I didn't think of going out there repeating what I did before and when I was 19. I could have, thought about that, but, I was like, no, there's no way in hell I'm going backwards. I don't care what kind of situation I'm in. I'm moving forward the best way I can. I'm grinding, I'm praying. And God is already there. God already knows what's ahead of us. He goes ahead of us to prepare us for what's coming. So, and that's what we can count on God for, man. We can count on God to go ahead of us and clear out all the bad thing, all the negative stuff, and get us ready and get us prepared for what's coming. And I just thank God for that, y'all. And I thank God for him, for my dad, for getting out on a positive note. And I just continue to pray and for his not only his sobriety, but his willingness to not dive back into that old self again, because for him it just seems like it's so easy to do, and I don't even know what triggers it. So I'm just praying that those triggers go away. Those triggers end today. And I'm thankful for it. So I hope you all have a good rest of your day and week. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm happy. I am looking forward to what's next. I will keep you guys posted. And thank you guys once again for stopping by my page, for sharing. I'm hoping that this is inspiring to someone, that it's encouraging to someone, and that I'm just hoping that, that whatever situation that you're in, you know that God is he's ahead of us. He's ahead of us. So he's getting it prepared for us. So just, just kind of pray and stay in faith. And thank you all once again. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace. Love ya.